Happening now, a young woman is facing charges after police located a toddler wandering around unattended on a Jamestown street. Plus, Jamestown's financial audit is in. What new numbers have to say about the city's fiscal progress. And families in our region are on the hunt for bargains as back-to-school shopping kicks off ahead of a new school year.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up, but first, a Jamestown area pharmacist is running a unique campaign as his bid for election for Congress after he was unable to officially make the ballot earlier this summer. Our Alyssa Wright has more from this local candidate who has now faced several hurdles so far in his election bid. Alyssa?
That's right, Justin. Richard Moon first rose to the political spotlight after announcing his candidacy for New York's 23rd congressional GOP primary. The original June primary election was delayed because of a court ruling ordering New York State to redraw political voting districts, which were found to have been gerrymandered. While Moon secured enough signatures to be on the original ballot, he hit several roadblocks ahead of a fast-approaching August primary.
We were well on our way to gathering signatures, and there was a pretty hefty signature requirement for a short period of time that was sprung on us by the state. And we had a tent up at Walmart, and we were collecting a couple of hundred signatures a day. And then all of a sudden, somebody changed their mind. We feel like maybe there was a phone call made, and they made us take our tent down, and we barely had enough to hit the totals, but not all of our signatures survived appeal.
And that's why Moon says he has launched a write-in campaign.
Out of the two Republican candidates that are officially on the ballot, I am the only one that lives in the district, even though I'm not one of those two, which is why I would need the write-in. One lives in South Buffalo and one lives in Niagara County. And even the Democrat doesn't live in this district either. That's going to be on the final ballot. So there's a lot of people treating us like we don't matter. So I think that the people who live here should be upset about that.
With the right attitude and some new ideas, the candidate believes he can be a strong voice in D.C.
I wouldn't say that I'm a political player, but I certainly am a consensus builder. And I believe that there are things we can accomplish through doing the right things the right way with the right attitude. And because I don't need to retire as a congressperson in 35 years, it does give me a bit of an edge, right? I can serve my 2 or 3 terms, 6 years max. You know, I'm out. Somebody else can take that mantle. We have a lot of talented people in our district that can go ahead and do it. I'll happily encourage them to do so. But new ideas, some different way of doing things, and I know that I can accomplish some good things.
Unity is something Moon finds very important.
It's not a Republican or Democrat thing. It is a Western New York Southern Tier thing, right? I mean, we are all family. We live next door to each other. We work with each other. We play with each other. It's all about all of us. So certainly winning the general with a write-in, or the special general, if you will, or what have you, will absolutely give us a leg up on the rest of it.
Langworthy and Carl Palladino are officially on the ballot for Tuesday, August 23rd. That's the primary election. The special election will fill the seat of former Congressman Tom Reed, who resigned for a job in the private sector. Republican Joe Sempolinski, the Steuben County Republican chairman, and Democrat Max Delapia, a retired Air Force lieutenant colonel from Tioga County, are facing off. The ultimate winner of the GOP primary in August will take on Delapia this fall for the full term.
All right, Alyssa Wright there reporting in studio. Alyssa, thank you. In other news, a 19-year-old was charged with endangering the welfare of a child after police located the toddler walking around unattended on a Jamestown street. Officers on patrol for Jamestown Police were flagged down by 2 residents in the area of West 9th and Cherry Streets around 8 o'clock on Monday. The residents reported seeing a 2-year-old child walking around unattended without their parent. The toddler was located around 2 blocks away from the residence where they were staying at. Police said it took around 30 to 40 minutes for the child's caretaker, later identified as Lynette Merst, to be located. Merst was charged with endangering the welfare of a child. Officers report that the toddler, who was not injured, was turned over to another family member. And a 32-year-old man was caught by police illegally possessing a loaded handgun in Dunkirk, has now been sentenced in that case. The Chautauqua County District Attorney's Office announcing yesterday that Glenn Hurdle will spend 5 years in state prison with 5 years of post-release supervision. Hurdle, which prosecutors said, previously pled guilty to criminal possession of a weapon back in April. He was first arrested in the city of Dunkirk after police found him in possession of a loaded handgun without a pistol permit. Hurdle was then sentenced to a pre-etiquette felony because he had a previous felony conviction within the past 10 years. And the city of Jamestown's 2021 financial audit has now been completed, showing a positive trend in the government's general fund balance for the first time in recent years. WNY News Now's Bronson Rasmussen is breaking down what the numbers mean.
Drescher and Malecki partner Carl Weidmer gave a presentation of the results of the audit to city council members on Monday night, saying that the city's finances are going in the right direction.
It was a positive financial result for a year. I don't think you can say that without in the same breath explaining 1.2 and almost $2 million of it was unexpected in the form of sales tax receipts, above what you would budget.
The amount of revenue the city has amassed has outpaced expenditures in the past 5 years, leading to a positive return in the general fund. For the 2021 fiscal year, unassigned monies totaled just over $6 million, finally meeting the state's recommendations after many years of financial uncertainty.
So for the year 2021, that $6 million of unassigned fund balance correlates to 17% of the year's spending. There's been a best practice put out there by the Government Finance Officers Association that stated a municipality's general fund should have no less than 2 months worth of spending in their unassigned fund balance. So that equates to 16.67%. So this 17%, the city has reached that minimum, although it's no requirement, but the GFOA is a respected body of best practices, and basically they say that that's a level that you would be able to withstand, whatever potential challenges you may have on the horizon.
Some situations that can call on this money include disasters, weather emergencies, and unexpected costs. Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist added to this, saying that this is the best the city has seen in recent memory, with no changes to the ordinary taxpayer.
We've been able to, in the last couple of years, continue to keep taxes low. We haven't raised taxes in several years, although we've actually reduced them a little bit. We've been able to settle all of the union contracts, which is pretty good. We've been able to keep health care for employees and retirees the same.
Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
Bronson, thank you. In the end, the city's financial situation is steadily improving. Officials still believe there is much to do, like making sure no single person is doing too much work. Well, now let's switch gears and get a first check of our weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joining us today, and a little bit of sprinkles out there this morning, Dakota, depending on where you are. I see the rain has stopped, but we're still pretty cloudy.
Yeah, the rain has stopped for so far this afternoon, but the clouds still hanging on there as of noon hour. Live look from the Randolph Peaches and Cream Skycam showing you just clouds abode out there right now, but we are going to see some breaks in those cloud cover, but it's going to take a while. You can see the cloud cover still streaming on in across much of the region, so what you see is kind of what you get for this early afternoon. But again, the clouds will break apart later in the afternoon. It's just going to take a little while to get there, but I do think we are going to see some sunshine before the time, obviously before the day ends. 82 was the high yesterday, started the day at 62, so definitely not as warm as it was last night. 91, or the past couple of nights, 91 and 36 are the records. So through the afternoon, clouds break apart, leading to partly to mostly sunny skies for the afternoon. Still a bit humid, but nowhere near as muggy as it was yesterday. 71 to 78 with a light north to northwest wind. Now, this cool air is going to stay in place for a while. Plus, we have a meteor shower coming up this week. We'll talk about that along with that Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-day forecast later in the show, Justin.
All right, exciting stuff in the weather department. Dakota, thanks. As we continue, gas prices and the number of people filling up continuing to drop around our nation and region. And a little bit later on, new resources to help the elderly who might be struggling with inflation here in New York. Stay with us. WNY News Now will be right back. There's some of that sunshine.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Two convenient conservatives are on the ballot for the Republican primary for Congress. Neither live in our district. I'm Rich Moon, vying for your vote in New York's 23rd congressional race. Growing up in Erie County, I lived in Hinsdale while working as a pharmacist in Wellsville. I'm proud to have raised my kids in the Jamestown area. Keep your voice in Washington local. Write in Rich Moon when you vote for both the GOP primary and the special election. Write in Rich Moon for Congress.
What is going on, my New York friends? My understanding is that you're in school for a little bit longer than most people, but I got some good news for you. Where are you going to be on September 10th? In Jamestown, New York, with me at 7 o'clock at the Reglena Theater, and you can get your tickets at reglena.com, REGLENNA.com. Make sure that you grab those now. It's going to be so much fun. Jamestown, New York, September 10th. Come and have fun with me.
When severe weather breaks, one team has you covered, tracking the storms as they happen. Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
Stay fire safe this summer. Only use grills outdoors, away from siding and deck railings. Clean grills often and remove grease or fat buildup. Make sure your gas grill lid is open before lighting. Have a 3-foot safe zone around grills and campfires. Keep kids and pets clear of the area. Dispose of coals after they cool in a metal can. Never leave grills, fire pits, and patio torches unattended. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvanna Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
AAA is reporting that gas prices are continuing to drop. However, the number of people filling up their cars is also dropping. Fewer motorists fueled their cars last week, another sign that Americans are changing their driving habits to cope with higher prices at the pump. However, the cost of oil has lowered because of fears of economic slowdowns elsewhere around the world. These factors caused the national average for a gallon of gas to fall to $4.05, which is 67 cents less than a month ago, but still 87 cents more than a year ago. Prices have not been this low since mid-February of 2022, before Russia invaded Ukraine. This week's average price in New York State is $4.41 a gallon and $4.43 a gallon here in Chautauqua County. Well, after being hit so hard by the pandemic, many senior citizens are struggling to adapt to the new realities we now face. However, new legislation to expand tax relief for New York homeowners, particularly those 60 and up, aims to help. Our Julia Gress has more.
You're living on a fixed income because you're not out there earning income any further. So you might have a pension, maybe you don't. But life is hard as it is. And then we start seeing the cost of living escalate. Everything from gasoline to your groceries to your monthly payments.
According to Governor Kathy Hochul, many seniors are now being forced to go back to work. To help curb the need for retirees to return to the workforce, the state has raised the Medicaid income limit and increased the eligibility for SNAP.
We've already completed construction of over 13 housing units of senior housing just this year alone, 1,300 new housing units. That's part of our $25 billion housing plan. $300 million for senior housing alone. That's why we've also expanded eligibility for heating and cooling benefit.
The first of 3 laws signed increased the cap for property tax exemptions for people over 65 and people living with disabilities from $29,000 to $50,000. The second will improve the Restore program to help keep their homes up to code so they can continue living there.
So right now they're supposed to have certain construction deadlines with supply chains. They're not likely to meet them, so we're expanding those to 60 days, as well as doubling the maximum costs for that as well. From $10,000, we'll give them $20,000 under this program.
The last law extends local options to provide property tax exemptions to first-time home buyers, giving younger people a chance to enter the elusive housing market. Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. On Monday, Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf and members of the General Assembly and state business leaders applaud PA's income tax reduction. In January 2023 is when the gradual decrease will start, reducing the tax from 9.99% to 8.99%. It will continue reducing by 0.5% until 2031 when it reaches its target 4.99%. Lawmakers say the reduction, which was included in the budget, will boost revenue and remove burdens, as well as make other necessary improvements to tax code. Business leaders say they're glad to see the reduction as well as improvements to the code overall.
Overarching goals of simplifying the tax code, making Pennsylvania more competitive with other states, and benefiting all businesses. Based on current state corporate tax rates, this will take us to the 8th lowest rate upon fully enacted.
Now, in 2031, Pennsylvania will have the lowest corporate next income tax of all neighboring states, minus Ohio, if those rates in those states were to remain the same. And some sad news out of the music world. Olivia Newton-John, the chart-topping singer, has died at the age of 73 after a courageous, decades-long battle with breast cancer. She passed peacefully yesterday at her home in Southern California, surrounded by her family. Born in England, she was raised in Australia and moved to the United States in the 1970s to promote her singing career. Her big break came in the 1978 blockbuster Grease, and she dominated the charts with hit songs in the 80s like Physical, A Little More Than Love, and of course, You're the One I Want. Local DJ Joe Lang played a number of those hits on his radio shows for decades.
Very few things stand the test of time like her songs and her career. And we haven't even talked about her, her battles with breast cancer and how she became such a champion for women with breast cancer. So, I mean, to say Olivia Newton-John and just put her in this little music bubble, I don't think is fair to her.
Newton-John was treated for breast cancer in 1992. Then 25 years later, in 2017, she announced that cancer had returned. She became an advocate for cancer research since then. Well, coming up, a look at news around our nation, including an FBI raid of former President Trump's resort in Florida. And later, families here in our region, they're now on the hunt for bargains as back-to-school shopping kicks off. But first, when we return, a full look at our weather forecast. Stay right there. WNY News Now is back right after this.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
While I appreciate anyone who wants to run for office and help others, we deserve to be represented by a local candidate. I'm Rich Moon, running for New York's 23rd congressional seat. I grew up in Erie County, worked in Wellsville, raised my kids in Jamestown. We need to keep our voice in Washington local. There are 2 absentee opportunists on the ballot for the Republican primary. They don't actually live here. That's why I need your vote. Write in Rich Moon for Congress for both the GOP primary and special election. We deserve local representation.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes! Make a plan today.
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
You're the one that I want. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Anyway, the one that I want.
Such a classic, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Such a classic. Ugh.
So anyway, now that I murdered that song for you, how about this beautiful picture of the sunset yesterday before the storms came in? Our own Sean Sweatman sending this in, and I thought this was an amazing picture. Anybody know what this is? I'm going to test your weather skills. Justin?
Let's see. I mean, it looks like it's raining. Is that
rain?
rain?
You got the rain shaft, but what is this?
Oh, God. Scary looking cloud.
I'll accept it. It's a shelf cloud.
A shelf
is
cloud,
exactly what it
gotcha.
is. See how it looks like a shelf and it's wrapping back in? So this was over Dunkirk, and I want to know, what the heck is this guy doing here? Okay, this is what I want to know. If anybody knows who this guy is, please let me know what he was doing here and why he's just sitting there, just
There's not going to be a suntan right then and there, buddy.
Well,
I'm sorry to
there's
say.
no sun there, so I don't really know what he was doing. But we do have the Perseid meteor shower that peaks this week. It peaks on August 11th through the 12th, and the Perseids come from comet 109P, the Swift-Tuttle comet. Now, unfortunately, because we're going to have a full moon, you are not going to see 100 meteors per hour. So don't even think about that. We're not going to see as many as we did last year, and the terminal velocity is going to be around 37 miles per second. And if you're really smart out there and you've done the math, that's 150,000 miles per hour. If you're smart. 67 degrees out there right now. No wind to speak of. The dew point at 60, so it still is up a little bit, but that dew point's going to be dropping. The muggy meter goes down, down, down by the time we go into Friday and Saturday. So more refreshing air is going to be on the way. And as a matter of fact, we don't see any signs of extreme heat around here for a while. This is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. And all that blue means below average temperatures. That frontal boundary has finally started to move across the region. So that's why we're cooler today back behind it. But also notice that clearing over Michigan. That's going to be getting in here. So the newest Runner Future Scan shows you the clouds breaking apart for the afternoon hours and into this evening. We are going to see fog redeveloping across the inland hours overnight, so watch for that for the morning commute tomorrow. Some of it could be locally dense, so visibilities could be reduced under a quarter mile at times by tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon will be fine, and then by the time we go into Thursday, we may catch an isolated shower early Thursday morning, but otherwise I think we'll stay dry. So we start tomorrow around 57, watch for that morning fog, 74 at noon and 77 at 5. Now the next 7 days, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions, so a pair of 7s tomorrow, 76 on Thursday. There's that chance for an isolated shower, bright sunshine Friday and Saturday, temperatures below average throughout much of this forecast period, and the humidity stays down as well.
All right, Dakota, thank you. Well, let's get some headlines from around the nation. And some of Donald Trump's supporters, they're lashing out at the Justice Department after the FBI seized items from former President's Mar-a-Lago residence yesterday. Former President Trump and his family confirmed that search and seizure. His attorneys say he'd been cooperating with federal authorities, and there are many GOP governors now calling this move very alarming and weaponizing of the Justice Department, while lawmakers say this makes the U.S. look like a third world country. The Justice Department has 2 known active investigations ongoing connected to the president. One centers on the efforts to overturn the 2020 election. The other involves the handling of classified documents. And the family of Gabby Petito is filing a lawsuit against police in Moab, Utah. They're accusing the department of failing to properly investigate her domestic violence case and ultimately protect her. Petito was found dead in Wyoming last year after embarking on a cross-country trip with her fiancé, Brian Laundrie. And at one point, they were traveling through Moab when police responded to a call where a witness said they saw the couple involved in a domestic dispute. One of the officers said Petito must be booked into jail under the domestic statutes of Utah. Officers agreed not to charge her as long as they spent the night apart. This new lawsuit seeks $50 million in damages. The lawsuit is in addition to another suit filed by her family in Florida against Laundrie's parents. It accuses them of hindering the search for their daughter and alleging they knew Laundrie killed Petito. Yesterday, President Joe Biden toured the catastrophic damage caused by flooding in eastern Kentucky and pledged support. Thousands of people remain displaced there. This comes as other states are grappling with flood emergencies of their own. Meredith Wood has more.
We're not leaving. As long as it takes, we're going to be here. And we are committed, this absolute 100% coverage of costs for the next 3 months, it matters.
President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden visited eastern Kentucky on Monday, where they met with the families affected by catastrophic flooding, which killed more than 36 people.
Once again, our people are hurting, facing loss and hardship on a scale that's hard to process.
The flooding began in late July, destroying hundreds of homes, washing out bridges and roads, and leaving behind widespread damage. On Sunday, President Biden provided more disaster assistance for the state after approving a major disaster declaration last month.
We're the only country in the world that has come out of every major disaster stronger than we went into it.
Climate scientists say we can expect more extreme weather like flooding in Kentucky as the earth warms. Also on Sunday, the U.S. Senate passed sweeping new legislation, which includes billions to fight climate change. In less than 2 months, we have seen at least 4 historic flood events across the country, with the latest over the weekend at Death Valley National Park in California. The major flooding resulted in numerous landslides, trapping roughly 1,000 people inside the park. In Denver, Colorado on Sunday, heavy rains caused this major flash flooding, creating a difficult commute for drivers. At least 19 people had to be rescued, but thankfully, no reports of serious injuries. I'm Meredith Wood reporting.
Next, families in our region are on the hunt for bargains as back-to-school shopping kicks off.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
I'm in this race because I love our region, its people, and all we do. Hi, Rich Moon here. I'm not someone who has come late to this game using political muscle or a large bank account to manipulate the electorate. I'm running for New York's 23rd congressional seat to keep our priorities local. Growing up in Erie County, working in Wellsville, raising my kids in Jamestown, this is my home. When voting this month, write down Rich Moon for Congress to ensure local representation for both the GOP primary and the special election.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Back-to-school shopping is often a major expense for families, and it's even bigger this year, with soaring inflation rates driving up prices and shrinking budgets. So, a growing number of parents in our region, they're looking for deals at consignment and second-hand shops, hoping to stretch their budget a little more. Erie News Now's Ethan Kibbe reports.
It's another busy day at Once Upon a Child on Peach Street as customers like Emily Cadle look for bargains on children's clothing.
Every time we're looking for the best deal we can get.
The mother of 3 knows the value of saving, and as inflation eats away her family's budget, she's extra aware of her spending.
For us, it's a huge importance all the time, and it's something we're trying to teach the kids too about, that we don't always have to go out and buy the latest and greatest of something, that we can reuse things and save money where we can.
She's not alone. Once Upon a Child has seen a 20% jump in customers since last August, with more families keeping an eye on their spending.
This year, we've definitely seen an increase in the amount of customers we've had looking for all their back-to-school needs.
The store manager says August is already their busiest month, and this year, store traffic has been nonstop.
You'll have a little kid run up and be like, look what I found, with their little backpack on, seeing them get ready and excited for their back to school season. And then you can see the parents, they're like, oh my gosh, if I would have bought this at, wherever, it would have been so expensive.
For Cadel, a bargain today means family fun tomorrow, an idea her kids strongly approve.
We've been trying to go to the beach, and we're trying to plan a family vacation, so things like that our savings can go towards that.
Ethan Kippy, Erie News Now.
All right, Ethan, thank you. Great pick there. That's it for us today. News 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com.